Thank you, Chairman Stile and Ranking Member Morelli, for allowing me to be on this committee today. Really appreciate it. And thank you to the witnesses for your presentations and your work. I'm a recovering computer science major. I'm aware of both the benefits as well as the risks that AI poses, and I have some questions first to Mr. Clocker. You all had approved ChatGPT Plus on a limited basis. You had not approved Microsoft's Bing Chat or, for example, Google's Bard, other large language models. So what would be some of the risks of a House office using those large language models?
So we talked to all those companies, and we're still talking to them. ChatGPT Plus, which is, as you know, run by OpenAI, we have some standard terms and conditions around protection of House data, protection of member data, and they agree to them. The other products have not. And it's really about how they handle your data and, for example, to make sure they don't share it with anybody else. Until they agree to that, we probably will not authorize them.
So OpenAI has said anything that a House office uses through that particular license, they're not going to incorporate into training or sharing.
That's correct. Like that. Yes, correct.
Now, what if, so all our computers are under that license, or how does that work? If I just go on my laptop and use ChatGPT Plus?
No, it's the paid version only. I think it's about $20 a month, so it's very low cost. But you do have to go in and get the ChatGPT Plus version, not the free version. So if you use...
Right. It has to be specifically through that license that they don't
correct.
share that information.
Yes.
So if I go on my desktop and use Microsoft's Bing Chat...
That's correct.
Then the risk is my queries could sort of go somewhere into their, I don't know, large...
obviously the risk is very low. We don't know what the typical House staffer is going to do with the data they put in through those tools. And so, it's more than just, are they going to use the data to train the model, right? There are some requirements in our terms and conditions around reporting on cyber incidents, that sort of thing. These are all fine companies. Obviously, Google is a very mature company, but where we are today is just the ChatGPT Plus.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I did want to follow up on something that Representative Bice said about LLMs targeting and being weaponized against other folks, including legislators. You may have seen that there was a fake audio of Joe Biden's voice in a recent election. There is technology called liveness detection technology that's pretty good, that will be pretty darn accurate in letting you know if the voice at the other end is a human being or not a human being. So could the CAO look at that technology and see whether it might be useful to incorporate?
Absolutely. We think we're going to need to use technology in a lot of instances. Is it a real voice? Is it a real message generated by AI that's coming in? We definitely think there's an opportunity to use that technology.
Thank you. And I have some questions for Mr. Arriga. Am I saying that correctly?
Yes.
So your agency is developing your own large language model. And as you know, one of their issues with large language models is they're not designed to seek the truth. They're essentially designed to seek the most popular response to your query. And what sometimes happens is they do this very technical term called hallucination, where they have a perfectly grammatically correct paragraph that is bonkers, totally false. One of the ways they try to correct for that is they literally, after they develop the model, go 6 months and hire thousands of human beings that basically go through and make sure it doesn't say bonkers things. Is your agency going to do that and have all these human beings test that model when you develop it?
Yeah, our approach to large language model, it takes a slightly different approach than what Mr. Clucker may have described. We chose to deploy a large language model inside GAO so we can control what comes in and what goes out. And specifically, that's allowing us to then adding GAO trusted data sources, for example, GAO published reports or even congress.gov as a source of information for us to add. Just as perhaps an anecdote, when we first started experimenting with generative AI technology, we asked a very basic question. What was Abraham Lincoln's opinion of GAO's AI accountability framework? Not surprisingly, it told us Abraham Lincoln hated our framework. So that sort of told us that there's certainly a danger for hallucination, and that really informed our approach in terms of how can we augment these pre-trained models with trusted data, and then also be able to sort of describe the rationale in which those answers are being described. So it's a combination of technology and digital literacy for us to make sure that we can recognize signatures of hallucinations.
Thank you. I yield back.